Alexa, play Gloria. Right, and welcome back to Top Cheddar Sports. Brett Boyle here for your NHL Wednesday, and let's start with some coaching news. So last week we mentioned how Patrick Waugh was being interviewed for the open job over in Ottawa with the Senators. Well, the Senators finally made their decision after interviewing 7 different candidates, hiring a DJ to be their new coach ultimately. Now this DJ, who goes by the name of DJ Smith, was an assistant to Mike Babcock over in Toronto for the past 4 years and signed a 3-year deal with the Senators, so they're pretty high on him. Babcock, obviously a good coach to learn from. Hopefully that pans out for that franchise because I think we all feel a little bad for them ultimately. The Arizona Coyotes will soon have a new majority owner, putting their arena problems in even more limbo. The Coyotes currently play in Glendale, Arizona, where plans for a new arena have been falling through. It is now up to this new, yet-to-be-identified owner to come up with a new agreement for where the Yotes will be playing their games. Former NHL defenseman Slava Voinov had his suspension from the league reduced this past week. He was originally supposed to be suspended for the entire season. However, he is now eligible to return at the midway point of the season. Now, the Los Angeles Kings have already announced that they have no intentions of bringing him back, meaning a team, if they want his services, will have to trade the Kings to get the rights to the 29-year-old defenseman. As you all remember, Slava Voinov was originally suspended for gruesome domestic violence charges. So really good on the Kings for, doing the right thing and not bringing him back. Over to happier news now. The New York Islanders continued the trend of signing restricted free agents by inking 27-year-old center Brock Nelson to a 6-year, $36 million contract. Nelson is coming off a career year for the Isles. The deal includes a full no-trade clause for the first 2 years, and then a partial no-trade for the next 4. Smart on the Islanders to do that. The Islanders will now focus their attention to signing their captain Anders Lee, Vezina finalist goalie Robin Lehner, and Jordan Eberle before they hit free agency. Now the Minnesota Wild, over in trade news, have been very determined to trade winger Jason Zucker for whatever reason. He's a great player. After a deal at last year's trade deadline with the Calgary Flames was not completed in time, they recently agreed to a deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins to trade Jason Zucker and recently acquired forward Victor Rask to the Pens in exchange for Phil Kessel and slow, terrible defenseman Jack Johnson. Now, this trade was nixed because Phil Kessel used his no-trade clause and waived it so that he would not go to Minnesota, and he has that right. The Wild are not on his 8-team trade list. Now, Phil Kessel reportedly had to do research on Minnesota before nixing the trade to learn more about the area and if he wanted to play there, which is odd considering the fact that he played his college hockey at the University of Minnesota. Now, we at Top Cheddar have the exclusive search history of Phil Kessel when he was researching Minnesota. Allow me to share. He searched first, what is Minnesota Wild? Wild what? What is a Wild? How to Wild? Minnesota distilleries, Parise and Suter contracts, food tax in Minnesota, and lastly, he searched, is Google broken? Weird. Very strange for Phil Kessel. Gotta say, that's kind of odd that that's what's important to him. But he raises some good questions. What is a Wild? Who knows? Lastly, the Blues and Bruins are facing off in the Stanley Cup Finals. Congratulations to both of those teams. Now, this finals matchup is not super surprising, given the Blues were the hottest team in the league coming into the playoffs, and the Bruins were the second best team in the Eastern Conference. It will certainly be a fun series, and I won't remind Blues fans of what happened the last time these two teams met in the final. Now, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup was Monday night. It was a very, very fun game. The Blues took a quick 2-0 lead. The Bruins would ultimately then score 4 straight goals, including an empty netter, en route to the victory in Game 1, defending their home ice. The Bruins heavily outshot the Blues, outshooting them by about 20 shots. It was fast-paced, a lot of good hits. Both teams were very physical. Both teams have a unique blend of speed and strength that I think will make this series very fun to watch. Game 2 is later tonight, also in Boston, so we'll see how that plays out, but it's going to be a fun series, and it's going to be a good one. That will do it for NHL Wednesday. Tune in tomorrow as Victor will give you some NFL football. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for continued updates with Top Cheddar Sports on the Beer League Bench Talk.